Playbook for Performance, the official podcast of Shauna Corden, the Joan of Arc for corporate healing and performance. Join the quest to make work fun again by preparing leadership for engaging workplaces. And now, your host.
Hello and welcome everyone to another edition of the Playbook for Performance podcast. I'm your host, Shauna Corden. And this month we're really talking about how to build your resilience in 2023. And this week specifically we're talking about strengthening your family. So the past couple of weeks we've really been talking about what we call the who in coaching. It's the innards of yourself, the stuff that's timeless, that has to do with your values, your boundaries, your standards, and family is a big component of that. Now, not everybody has grown up in a family that's really nurturing to them, but everybody has a chosen family. It may consist of some biological members, and it may consist of some friend members that are like family. And to be clear, in this lesson, we are talking about both. So, let's get started. When do I suggest this lesson? I suggest this lesson whenever you're feeling disconnected. You might feel a separation. You're not spending a lot of quantity time with these folks. And quantity drives quality. I have a colleague. His name is Doug Floor. He's a very well-respected coach. And his historical research has proven this, that you cannot have quality time without quantity time. And when I teach this lesson in a full-blown class, I have people create a table that basically shows every family member for a whole week and the time that they spent with them. And I cannot tell you how many professionals who told me that throughout the Monday through Friday of a week, they were spending 15 minutes a day, maximum, quantity time with their kids. It was typically driving them to school, picking them up from school, taking them to practice, picking them up from practice. With all of the crazy schedules that kids have these days between sports and music lessons and other activities, families don't eat dinner together very often anymore. And I can't tell you how many dads in particular were very troubled that they thought they were spending a lot of time with their kids, but when it came down to the measurement, when we looked at the table, they weren't spending very much time with them at all. And often, if you are driving kids in the car, they've got earbuds in, you might be listening to the radio, things like that. And that is not a good time to connect. So if possible, turn off devices, have dinner together, things like that. It really does make a huge difference. And you can crank up that quantity number, which will lead to the quality number. So, and then finally, choosing your family. If I ever have a client complain about, coming back from a holiday, they didn't have a good time with their family, they don't feel understood, etc. It's like, well, who does get you? How can you invest in those relationships and have them be part of your chosen family? That's what we're really looking at here. So, a couple of key points about this lesson. Families are made of people, and people are not perfect. So we can never architect how the people in our family will behave. They may make different choices than we do. I'm always surprised when you've got the same DNA, the same, raising of children, even twins, and they're totally different. So my brothers and I are quite different. I love them very much. But they are different than I am, and they, number one, have no fear, or they act in spite of fear. I'm not sure. They've done all these extreme sports things, stuff like that, which I really admire. But it's important for all of us to realize that our families are not there to fill our needs. So we talked about needs a few lessons back. Just as a quick recap, Maslow created this hierarchy of needs, shaped like a pyramid. At the bottom are things like food, water, shelter. At the top are things like self-actualization, meaning I understand my purpose in life and now I'm helping others fulfill theirs. When it comes to our needs, we have some that are in between that shelter and self-actualization that make us the best version we are or can be. But if we, one of mine is beauty. I'd love to have fresh flowers in the house. But for me to expect that my husband will be the one to populate the house with fresh flowers all the time is unrealistic. He's got to get his own needs met as well. And so we can't be resentful or demanding or expect that others will meet those needs. We actually need to work to fulfill those ourselves. And so one of the things that we talked about in that needs lesson was you need to create your own automatic sprinkler system. Something that's going to turn on when you need it, turn off when you've got enough of it. You don't oversaturate things, and you make sure that you schedule the time or resources that you need to get those things filled, and not blame our family members when those things are not met. The other thing about our family members is where can we improve? My poor brothers often travel back here to visit, but I want to make a point of going to see them more often so that they recognize that I really do want to be with them more and visit them more and things like that. And I want to make an equal amount of effort to support them. So where can you improve in your relationship with your family? The other thing is that we can be very intentional with our families, just like we are with our businesses or our health. And we can choose the experience that we have. And so one of the choices we can make is that we will not let anything continue that's unresolved. So if there are clouded issues, if there's been disagreement, if there's been polarization, my new book is coming out soon, we really want to commit to not leaving things resolved. We just never know what's going to happen. And we want to be on good terms with our family members and know that they can depend on us and vice versa. So we really need to adjust our attitude that the relationship is more important than the situation, maybe whatever the polarizing topic might be. And again, we need to drive up that quantity number in order to drive the quality of the experience. So be intentional. Specifically, schedule memories, schedule experiences that will create those memories, whether it's meals, holidays, games, whatever it might be, just to fuel that and fuel connection. Transactions don't work that well, but time together does. And so what allows you to connect with those family members? Sometimes driving my daughter in the car when she was small was one of the best experiences because we'd share music, we'd share stories, we'd listen to books on tape, things like that. And so we have a lot of shared memories from that can be, something that we can look back on that anchors things even more for us. So some other tips I want to offer is patience. We grew up with these people often. They know all our buttons. We know theirs. Do your best not to push those buttons. Do respond with any upset with grace. Look at it as it being unintentional. Choose to have a good and healthy attitude about your family members so that you can keep things on a really positive note. If this is your first time joining us, please invite your friends. A rising tide lifts all boats. We want to grow together. And if you'd like to organize your experience on this 20-week challenge, you can download a theme sheet at our site. Or check out the show notes. Or if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that there as well. So, if you have a question, if you would like some advice on handling a situation that comes to building your personal resilience, or if you'd like to apply these lessons to your team, Over 150,000 people have gone through this 20-week experience with me in a corporate setting, and I am happy to come teach this in your organization. You can send a message to podcast@ShaunaCorden.com, and we'll get you on the calendar to have your team experience the growth and resilience that you need to be strong in facing challenges. Until next week, take good care.
Thank you for listening to Playbook for Performance. To learn more about Shauna Corden, her consulting programs and tools, please visit her website at ShaunaCorden.com and follow us on social media at Shauna Corden.